Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of First and Last. It's a TV podcast, and it's me, Josh, and I'm also with Jimmy.
Yeah.
And just Jimmy.
Yeah.
Joe's not here this week because he's getting married, and Claire's not here this week because she's marrying Joe.
It's working out for both of them.
They seem to be happy, or they're good at lying.
Oh, man. Can you imagine?
No, I think they're just happy.
All right.
It's good. But yeah, so we're taking it over. We're having a two-person pod, and we'll find out how this goes.
Yep. Like we do once in a while.
Every once in a while, it happens.
Did you have a bit for us to say?
I got no bit. I got this painted rock that's kind of painted like the Pepsi logo.
Yeah, okay. I was going to say that's probably like a flag.
Or a flag? Whose flag
Depending
would this
on which
be?
way you turn it, it's probably a couple flags.
It's
There's several.
This way, from left to right, it's a blue stripe,
Portugal?
a white stripe, and a red stripe.
I should know. Like, it should definitely
You
be
should
better
know
at-
every country's flag.
No, but I mean, like, okay, the like three colored ones. Like, how many of those can there be?
Hundreds. 100.
Each 100?
100.
100?
The 100.
100 red, white, and blue flags.
Oh, no. I just three striped flags.
Oh, okay.
Either
Okay,
vertical or horizontal.
Yeah. Like Poland? No, I think that's just blue and white.
It's a thing that I found out is people just paint rocks
Huh.
and then they just put them like
Who?
in parks and stuff.
You found that at a park
Yeah.
and you picked it up.
So I didn't pick it up because like I personally wanted this painted rock. I picked it up because I have a friend, Diana.
Who likes painted rocks?
She likes painted rocks.
Okay.
And I found that literally, I believe it was on the day that it was her birthday. I was like, oh, this is a painted rock. Diana likes this crap. So I picked it up.
That's hilarious.
And I've had it in my possession
yeah,
for
I was
like 6
does
months.
she know?
She knows I have it.
You
I
have
just
her
haven't.
birthday rock.
I have her birthday rock, and I haven't given it to her yet.
Like
I
that.
found out that she liked painted rocks because one day we were like out at a park with a couple people, and I was like, "Oh, look at this! It's a painted rock, cool." And then she was
Yeah.
like, "Oh my god, can I have that? I like those." Like as if she like definitely thought I wanted it. Like I was like, "Finders keepers."
Give that to me.
And I was like, "No, this is yours. I don't want this."
Well, listeners, tweet at us your opinions about painted rocks. For or against.
I think I'm pro painted rocks, but I'm not pro keeping them or like having them in my possession.
Okay.
I got a lot of shit and I don't need more. I don't need rocks as well.
Yeah. I mean, what like paperweights? Like who actually really uses a paperweight?
I mean, maybe if you have a lot of plants, you can use them as like a
Sure, they're just
other thing in the
decoration.
dirt. It can be in the dirt by the
At that
stalks.
point. Yeah, okay, I guess I could use some. Can I have that rock?
No, that's Diana's rock, man. Well, this is not your premier painted rock podcast. Jimmy, you're on the spot. What is first and last for the newly initiated?
We take some rocks and no, we watch
Only
a TV
the
show
first rock.
that has run its course in some shape or form, and we watch the pilot and we discuss it and we make some predictions about what the series finale will be, whether it's a one season show or a multi-season show. We're doing some the word is escaping me, where it's different every season.
Oh, anthologies?
Anthologies, thank you. I was like, analogies? No, that's not correct. Anthologies. And that's fun. We should probably pick up some more of those.
Well, I mean, you picked the show today. Did you pick
Yeah,
an
I did not.
anthology? Okay.
I did not. I picked a show that's... Did I finish describing the...
I think that's fine.
You get it.
Yeah, listeners, if you're confused, just listen to a different episode where Joe explains it better.
This is Joe's job. So I picked a show for many reasons. It's been on my short list. It's a procedural, which we haven't done in a while.
NCIS.
Oh man, no, that's still going.
Yeah.
My wife like buzzed through like this. It's like on season like 16 or some shit.
It's too many.
It's just it's incredible. What was I doing 16 years ago? Nothing good.
You were
Living in poverty.
well, you were in college, so if you weren't living in poverty, you weren't
point.
doing college correctly.
That's a good point. Eating a lot of ramen.
Yeah.
Probably pretty malnourished. No, not that one. I think the last procedural we did was Fringe, maybe.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah.
Which is dope.
Consider that a procedural.
I think so. It's kind of a multi-genre,
Definitely got a
I guess.
monster of the week.
Yeah. I don't know about this show. So this show, I picked the show Numb3rs. Have you heard of this show?
Is it got a 3 in it instead of an E?
It's got a 3 in it. Yes.
That's the only thing I know about this show.
That's all you need to know.
Yeah.
So this guy's just good at math, and he solves crimes with math. And the guy is David Krumholtz, which I affectionately know as Bernard from the Santa Claus movies.
Yeah.
You seen those with Tim Allen?
I'm seeing a picture of him right now. I remember what
if you've seen those movies, you can't not see this elf when you watch this show. He's grown up elf. And I think his dad is Judd Hirsch, who's like the main character of Taxi. He's Jeffrey Goldblum's dad in Independence Day.
That's
my favorite role.
Yeah, that's how you
his.
know who Judd Hirsch is. There you go.
That's my favorite role. But so I first and only saw this show last summer at a cabin weekend with my wife's family. And so...
And like, wait, everyone was in a cabin and they were like, guys, we should watch Numb3rs.
I think it was like a rainy day.
Okay.
And someone brought a DVD because we were in some cabin. We didn't get like...
So a 55-year-old person
like
brought
streaming.
a DVD to a cabin.
Somebody brought one of the seasons of Numb3rs and we
Okay.
watched it, and it was... I remember it being dope.
Okay. Interesting. Well, it looks, Jimmy, like it was on CBS
Okay.
and maybe Ion television.
Oh, so it moved off of...
Could have moved.
Or Ion... Okay. Ion maybe picked it up after like syndication or something.
Yeah, that's possible.
It's 05?
Yeah, January 05 to March 2010 went 6 seasons and 118 episodes. So
Yeah.
it did well enough.
Yeah.
2005.
Yeah, that is...
That's
a while
literally
ago.
what you were doing 16 years ago.
Oh
FYI.
my God. Whoa.
Numbers. Hey, numbers.
Yeah.
Am I right?
Wow. That just blew my mind. I don't know what to say about that. And I was in college.
Yeah.
I think in 05, 04, 05. Yeah, for sure. That's wild. So the other guy in this is Rob Murrows. He looks super familiar, but I can't really place him. He's got a long filmography, but I'm going to have to dig into that. Maybe he just looks like somebody.
Yeah, immediately I'm not placing him.
Okay.
So maybe I need about 42 and a half minutes to stare at him and find out whether or not I recognize him.
Yeah, probably. Okay. So yeah, dude. Oh, and also Peter McNichol, who, if you've seen Ghostbusters 2, is the art curator guy.
Okay.
Who, spoiler, have you seen Ghostbusters 2?
I mean, I've seen all the Ghostbusters except the most recent all ladies one.
I want to see this. He's the art curator who's like Slavic of some kind, Eastern European of some kind, and he like becomes the bad guy at the end.
Yeah. Okay.
Anyway, he's not Eastern European in this show that I remember, but he's great.
So I don't know anything about numbers. So, I mean, number one, you said the word procedural, and then it's called Numb3rs. So, our main character, an elf.
Correct. Tim Allen's elf.
Tim Allen's elf from Santa Claus.
Yeah.
Yeah. he is some sort of, I mean, the easiest way would be he's a mathematician that like
Sure.
no longer practices at university or something like that.
Okay.
But I don't think that's true.
Doesn't practice math.
I think he is some sort of like something like sillier, like Ian Malcolm, like a chaos tician or something like that.
Okay.
Like he's not that, but like he's not like I'm a mathematician. Like he's got some weird title.
Okay.
Or something that he calls himself. Like, oh, I'm a primary whatever in this, but it has a lot of numbers. He's a lot of math, you know?
Sure.
So he, for whatever reason, he's getting a coffee at a Starbucks one day, and then like some dude runs in and robs a Starbucks and like murders like a lady like drinking a latte. And then he's like, shit, that was crazy. And then cops come in and then it's like, this guy ran away. And he's like, well, actually, he shot 4 bullets. And you can figure out by the fact that he did this, that he lives on 2342 Penberry Lane.
Okay.
It's not necessarily Sherlock-y per se, but I
Okay.
think what he's going to do is we're going to get some sort of Sherlock scenario where he explains what happened, but because he can like, you know, he does that thing. He looks like at a windowsill, and maybe there's like a little line that goes up, like a overlay graphic that it's like 23 centimeters, and he like understands. He's like, this guy was 6'5", so he could jump through this, and that's why there's a tear in the like.
Okay.
So like he's gonna figure shit out like that because he can like see the geometry
Sure.
and work the numbers
Sure.
to figure that out.
And it's kind of it's more of a like a logic problem with numbers than it is math.
Yeah.
Really.
Yeah, he's obviously not a real cop. He's gonna now. Then at the end of this episode, he's gonna become like a you know, the liaison to the where are they numbers.
Yeah, it's got to be like a prominent city, right?
Yeah, I was gonna say that. What's the Nolans?
Ooh.
Yeah, he's gonna be in New Orleans.
Okay.
New Orleans for.
There for sure is like a CSI New Orleans,
It's
right,
like,
or something.
It's like New Orleans or like Las Vegas. It's not.
Okay.
It's not like L.A. or Chicago or New York.
Okay.
You know, it's none of those.
Off the beaten
I went
path.
Miami, but no. Las Vegas or New Orleans.
Okay.
And so then he eventually will get hired. He's gonna have a like some sort of attractive female cop that is then becomes like his like handler.
The will they, won't they? Okay.
You know, like, and she's like,
She's
ugh,
kinda
you're so
overseeing.
You're so like overbearing. He's probably a little overbearing or something. He's probably rude, a
Sure.
little rude.
Oh, for sure.
Maybe this guy doesn't.
He is
play
an elf.
This guy doesn't play rude very well, does he?
You don't think so?
I don't.
I feel like do you remember his character in Santa Claus?
Oh, maybe he plays annoying really well. So yeah,
I feel like he's like, so in my mind in the Santa Claus movies, which I have not seen in a long time, but you know, mostly because no one wants to you know, give that whatever. Does Tim Allen make money off of those streams on Disney Plus?
who could know?
If he doesn't, then I for sure will go back and watch them.
In the middle of August.
Yeah, you know, why not? But I remember him having like a very thick like New York accent.
Okay.
And being like New York like sass. Like not like douchey because it's a Disney film.
Yeah, he's not
about
gonna be
Christmas.
Yeah, he's not gonna be douchey. I think he's just gonna be like a little trite, maybe a little annoying.
For sure. I see it.
Yeah, and then that's how he's gonna do it. Someone gets murdered in a Starbucks, and then he becomes a cop.
Love it.
First episode.
All right.
I mean,
I'm in.
is that it? Should we just get it?
Yeah, probably.
All right, cool. Listeners, first episode had 24.92 million viewers.
Dang.
I'm not excited as much seeing that the second episode only had 15 million viewers.
Okay.
So I lost 10 million.
That's still a lot.
It's still
of
a lot.
viewers.
It's still a lot. But the first episode is called Pilot, and it was on January 23rd, 2005, presumably on CBS. And we're going to watch that, and we'll be back after that. And we're back. We're done with the first episode of Numbers, which was just called Pilot. Jimmy, do you got a write-up?
I do. And I think it's funny. I mean, they're almost always called Pilot, right?
Mm-hmm.
But this episode, I just read on the wiki, was shot twice, essentially.
Yeah, there was an unaired pilot or something.
Yeah.
Like that, right? Okay.
And the first was in, like, Boston, I think I read.
Okay.
And it did not go over very well. And so they just did some recasting, shot the whole thing in LA, and then CBS picked it up like a couple weeks later. So here we go, pilot. A serial rapist who marked his victims by branding continued his escalating gravity by committing... Okay, wait a minute. This is not a real sentence.
I'll be the judge of that.
By committing... Maybe it's supposed to be his, presumably, first murder. FBI Special Agent Don Epps is in charge under Agent Walt Merrick of a massive investigation. Don's brother, Professor Charles Epps, a mathematical genius, takes a single peek at the map of the 13 crime locations at their dad, Alan's home, and claims he can roughly calculate the common point of origin, the rapist killer's home. Charlie analyzes and applies such variables as the safety zone and the spontaneous non-randomizing of human arbitrary choices and achieves a 4 out of 5 probability as tested on earlier serial killers. Charlie's academic friend, Dr. Larry Fleinhardt, suggests he should concentrate on true mathematical challenges rather than trivial real-life distractions. Charlie's prediction shows 87% chance for a zone with only 75 men, but no judge will grant a search order based on Charlie's work, so DNA is taken from their trash. Charlie then points out the data from victim 12, Karen Silver, is probably wrong because she lied. The correction yields a smaller zone that is more precise within the previous zone where all men were already cleared. The common base is there, only not the perpetrator's home. So they find out it was where he worked.
Yeah.
And also that he had moved. Also.
Like where he worked and also where he was also murdering some people.
You know, like you do. So basically, we have two brothers, FBI agent Dan.
Don.
Is it Don? It's Don. I can't read my own handwriting. And then his mathematician professor brother, Charlie, was kind of eccentric.
Right. And I realized that during the show, Don, the actor, he's from Northern Exposure, from any of you early 90s Alaskan TV lovers.
Hell yeah. If anyone has the DVDs out there, let us know so we can do this show.
That'd be a fun show to do. And then obviously Charlie's of Santa Claus fame. I want to keep saying
right.
Elf. Santa Claus fame.
Right. I'm sure he's done other things. I did not really look because I was diving into more interesting people on this show. Such as, well, not Alan, the dad, Judd Hirsch, because we already talked about him.
Yep.
Independence Day. There's Walt Merrick, who I mentioned, who seems to be some sort of higher up in the bureau.
Yeah,
he's like kind of in charge of this.
He's probably like the chief or something, right?
Definitely make him out to be a douche. And he's like running for something, they said. Maybe the chief. I don't know.
Sheriff.
I'm probably the sheriff of the FBI. And he's in the like Silence of the Lambs, Red Dragon.
Oh,
movies.
He's in Red Dragon?
Yeah.
Oh.
And Silence of the Lambs. He's like I think he might be another psychiatrist or something.
Oh, okay. I only see Edward Norton.
Right? But he's not in Silence of the Lambs.
But he's in Red Dragon.
He's like 12. Actually, I have no idea. How old is Edward Norton?
Edward Norton, older than us by probably 15 years.
Fair enough. And then there's this David guy. Alimi Ballard, who's the other FBI guy throughout this, and Don like questions his like are you paying attention to this case, or are you paying more attention to helping Walt run for whatever FBI thing?
Yeah.
And the guy's like, he's like, I'm in on this case or whatever. But I looked him up. He's like probably the most prolific actor in here this show.
What is he from?
He's in like everything. He's the only one I feel like who's still doing things. Alimi Ballard is his name. David Sinclair was his name in the show. He's in Fast 5, which we all know. Big fans of the Fast. Whatever.
Saw Fast 9 the other day. Still unbelievable that John Cena could be Vin Diesel's brother.
Yeah. That's kind of tough. Man. He's like a half brother.
They have like a throwaway line in the movie saying like, "There's a lot of different blood running through the Toretto veins," or something like that. And I'm like, yeah, okay, whatever.
Wow, I do love John Cena though. Have you seen the new Suicide Squad yet?
I did. I saw that yesterday.
He is excellent in that movie.
It's pretty good.
He's got some of the best. Okay, anyway, he's in Deep Impact. He's in Dark Angel. He was in that All Rise show. I don't know if that's still on. I think it is. Which is what's her name? Misty Knight from
from Watchmen show.
from the Luke Cage ones.
That's right. Okay.
He's
Sister Knight was the Watchmen show.
Okay.
That's why I thought about that.
Oh, right. He's in Doom Patrol, which was a HBO Max. I think
it's a DC thing, isn't it?
Yeah, that's a DC thing.
Yep.
Yeah.
DC's kind of made a home in HBO, I think.
Yeah. He's in Mom, that Chuck Lorre. Anyway, he's in just everything.
Okay. Yeah, there's her name was Terry in this, and her biggest claim in this show to me was like, "Oh, that's Claire. Nope, that's not Claire Danes."
Right.
Like she could have made an entire living just being like Claire Danes, like stand-in or something, or
body double.
Yeah. But I realized that she is from Sliders.
Oh yeah.
The
okay.
mid-90s Fox TV show about traveling through worlds.
I was going to say, I looked through her IMDb, and the thing that interested me was that she's in Sports Night, which is on my list to hopefully sometime track down. It was only a couple seasons long, I think, but it's an Aaron Sorkin show. So it's got a bunch of those West Wing folks.
Well, Sliders is on my short list, Jimmy.
Nice. Let's do it. I'm down.
Yeah, it's just long. Like
it's gonna take a day.
And then that guy who's Charlie's like kind of like not coworker. What's the colleague?
Yeah,
would be the correct term there. Dr. Larry Fleinhart.
Yeah.
He's from Ally McBeal.
Oh, yep.
I think that's probably one of his bigger roles.
And Ghostbusters 2. Who else? There was Amita, I think was her name. Was a student of Charlie. She's kind of sidekicking with him, helping him out a little bit. And there was a weird, like, Alan was like, the dad is like, "You doing? Who's this girl?" And he's like, "This is my student." But there was a weird, and also like Don was kind of creeping on her a little bit and kind of giving her some eyes. So there's probably some weird stuff between Charlie's students and brother Don.
Yeah,
maybe between Charlie himself.
I mean, that's weird, but that's fine. They're also all at their dad's a lot, like Don and does Charlie live with his dad?
Charlie lives there for sure.
Charlie definitely lives there, and then Don's just there all the time. It seems like Don. There's one interesting dynamic that generally doesn't happen in these type of shows, and that seems like Don actually is receptive to Charlie's like feedback and help.
That's a good point. Yeah.
Whereas normally you'd be like, "You're my little brother, and I'm the cop.
You know anything."
If you wanted to be a cop, you should have been a cop, like that kind of thing. And
I feel like we for sure watched that show. That show exists and we've watched it.
Oh yeah. We probably watched it multiple times.
I'm having a weird deja vu.
But like, that's not happening in this. He was like, "You can find the killer. Find the killer." Like,
yeah, find him.
Please.
Jesus. Yeah, it's true. Well, because there was a line that was like, Charlie is like looking at the map, and Don comes down and was like, "What are you doing? Those are confidential, or whatever files." And he's like, Charlie lists all like a number of cases that he helped him on, and then the guy's like, "This is a serial killer, like you can't figure out like." What some psycho is just out there just raping and killing women, like
right.
Does not, there's no pattern. But then Charlie's like watching the sprinkler, and then so we see 100 sprinklers throughout the rest of the show.
Yeah, well, and then that was when like the math equations and some of the lines kind of appeared.
Yeah, so that's a major theme, is there's just all of a sudden like chalk on the screen and equations, but Charlie's figuring out we can't necessarily like pinpoint when the next victim's gonna be, but from all these victims we can pinpoint a point of origin, like a sprinkler shooting water. We can see the water droplets and figure out essentially where the sprinkler head is.
I feel like that's not even it's interesting. I feel like that's kind of like a mildly like a softball throw of a first episode, because it's kind of like that that's a thing that they're definitely working on.
Triangulation.
It's a circle. He must be in the middle of the circle.
Yeah, you'd think the FBI would also know that equation. Would also think that way.
Like, I mean,
God, you hope so.
Just anybody drawing a circle around those things would be like, well, maybe he lives in this stuff. You could just draw lines like and get like the center pretty much.
Right.
So in a way, now that I didn't think about it till now, I'm like, maybe not that impressive of a math equation. But then he did make a second circle.
Right.
So and I don't really understand where he came up with that.
He talks to Dr. Flyinhart, who's like, simplify your math or something. But that
he almost
actually
told
make
him.
sense,
I think he told him to make it like more chaotic in a way.
Yeah, I think you're right. The write up said, kind of spelled it out differently, but basically he added some more variables in, shortened, like reduced the cycle or the circle, and then Alan, the dad, is like he probably doesn't live there, and they're like, oh. Yeah, he doesn't have to live there. He just has to be there. And then because like Don is always at Dad's house and at the office and never home, apparently in some apartment he pays probably a lot of money for in LA.
I mean, at the moment right now it goes, okay, well, if you want to commit a bunch of murders, travel somewhere and then just have a spot, and then, I mean, number one, don't kill anyone you know.
No, because that's
like,
most.
That's murder 101.
Yeah.
To use an icicle.
If you listen to any, become a truck driver.
I feel like you're immediately a suspect if you're a truck driver.
Yeah, you should be, because you're a serial killer.
Man,
if you listen to any true crime podcasts ever.
Have you drove a truck? Do you own a big rig? You murdered somebody.
Yeah, you murdered somebody. You might not be a serial killer.
It's like in the initiation to become a long haul trucker.
You have to
have murdered.
It's like the double O's, but just for trucking. You have to have a kill. You got to have 2 kills, and then you become a double O.
There you go. That's it. That's all it takes.
You can drive truck.
2 kills. Double O or truck driver.
Oh, God.
Sorry, truck drivers. We don't kill Jimmy Nummy. I don't believe anything you just said.
You have any other thoughts?
I'm just trying to think of like how I felt about. I mean, okay, so like really, I feel like what I learned about these characters is like Don is a police guy. He works for the FBI. Yep. His boss is like maybe not as like involved in policing as he needs to be, but that doesn't mean he's a bad guy or anything, so whatever.
Sure.
His brother is a mathematician, is very smart, and seems to like have some sort of aspiration to do good. And they have a pretty solid like oddly enough that's the one weird part is there's no like animosity or like ill will between the two. They actually seem to work pretty well together, which is odd, which is new to me for this type of show.
They're not like BFFs, but yeah.
Yeah, well, yeah, but you know, they're fine. They respect each other and they respect each other's work. I don't necessarily think that this pushed me into going, can't wait till next week to find out how he makes a math circle and finds whatever.
Sure.
I don't think but I didn't hate it, you know? I think my initial reaction is that was fine.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like that was fine.
Oh.
If I owned TV, you know, like I had a TV that I could turn on that had like CBS just on, and I turned it on one night and I was like, I have absolutely nothing to do.
Thing? I'm just going to buy you an antenna.
I don't want it.
For your birthday.
Why do I need an antenna?
You're not even going to know it's there.
You're just going to come over, you're going to sneak over and hook up an antenna?
I'm going to sneak over, I'm going to screw it in to your TV, and one day you're just going to watch CBS.
Maybe, I guess. I'd say the only thing I'd use it for is I'd turn on football, I guess.
Hell yeah.
It's the only time of the year that I'm like, man, I wish I had TV.
Right?
Is because when football's on. But I don't even, I can get football so many different ways. So many totally legal ways I can get football. You heard me. But like, you know, Tuesday night, I'm just like, I don't have anything. Like, you know, it's 8 p.m. I got nothing to do. Yeah. I'm not going to start anything. Turn it on. Numbers.
Numbers.
Spell that with a 3 instead of an E. What's going on with this? Let's watch. Oh, yeah, that guy from Santa Claus is a math guy. Okay. But, like, you know, I'm not going to be like, well, shit, now I got to watch it next week. That's, so interesting.
Sure.
Enough to keep me around for a minute.
Yeah, I can't. So, I've only seen a handful of episodes, and I'm pretty sure I mentioned the Cabin Weekend DVD. I'm pretty sure it was not season 1 either. So, like, but I don't think this is a show, especially mid 2000s, that were not very episodic, right? You don't really, if you miss a week, didn't really. There's
obviously some like inner character like connectivity and whatnot, and some relationships that you miss, but this is very obviously like at most they're solving this case or doing this thing, and maybe there's a couple episode arc with something like that, but
yeah.
I don't even. It's not even as in depth as like say a Dexter, where it's like the Trinity Killers, the whole season 3 or anything. Like
you can't miss an episode of a prime show like that.
So this is really like you have time to watch Numbers. I think you can watch it if you like.
I bet there's like season arcs, but in the way that you could watch a first and last of the season and get the whole scope.
Do you think this? I was going to say you think this guy comes back, but they shot the hell out of him at the end of this episode.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, Don just lit him up.
Yeah, they used the second circle with the hot zone to find out that the killer like potentially worked in this area, and they went over and looked at it, and he was there, and he got caught because he was.
Just had all the things.
He was
the brand was there. Them. Yeah, the torch was there. The brand
was like the butt of the knife.
The butt of the thing.
Or something like that. I think it was a knife. It was like the butt of the knife.
Okay.
The bottom part of the handle was like the brand he was putting on. Hey, don't brand your victims.
Yeah, that's a dead giveaway.
I mean, listeners, if you're a serial killer, brand your victims because you should probably be caught and you suck. But like, I'm not going to brand my victims.
They also like knew right away he was smoking when he answered the door, and everywhere like they found like cigarette butts where he was clearly like staking out ladies.
How couldn't they figure out who he was just via DNA then at that point?
That's a good question. I did not understand that part.
Math, but no DNA. No forensics.
I thought there was the write up mentioned a DNA. I don't know.
Well, I mean, they didn't test it. They shot him instead.
Yeah. Well,
Either way, there was
found
one
him.
girl that had just recently gotten like attacked, and they did save her. So they did save the last
They
victim.
did save the last one. Yeah.
So it's good. I mean, what did you? So you've seen a little bit, but what did you think of this pilot?
Like you said, it's not the pilot itself, because it doesn't really. I think a really good pilot gives you something like this. Just closed all the loops that you cared about.
I think that's just exactly what the show's gonna be, though. It's just gonna be
Yeah.
like not Monster of the Week. It's just gonna be like, hey, we're gonna solve another math problem next week.
Yeah, it's solved. The end. Credits roll.
Yeah.
And I wish that it had a little something that you gave a crap about, like some B plot that Charlie's working on something. You've got Dr. Fleinhardt's like thing that he wants Charlie's help with that I still don't understand. Something about gravity somewhere in the cosmos.
He said something about gravity.
But that's not really. You're not tuning in next week to see if Charlie helps out Dr. Fleinhardt on his cosmos equation.
Yeah, they could have tried to figure out some sort of like, essentially like maybe season-wide big bad that might have been some sort of like I hate to say something about like Sherlock again, but there needs to be some sort of like Moriarty character for this. He needs like a rival.
Totally. Oh yeah.
Or
I'd be into that.
And then maybe it would have just been like
Just another math guy.
yeah, just another. I went to Harvard. You went to Yale. I kill.
Yeah.
But they just needed potentially something to like keep you going, because it was open and shut, and that was it. And so and that is most likely what this is going to be. That's what I assume it's going to be. That's what they presented it as.
Yeah.
But if they would have just had maybe right at the end, like they could have just shown like a gloved hand like stabbing like a body or something like that, like
here's next week's,
or it could have led into next week's, or like it could have been like some point in every episode they kind of point towards like this murderer or something like that, and then you have to be smarter than I am at the moment and like think about how that works with math, or so how you solve this crazy conspiracy thing going on. But yeah, there needed to be something a little bit to let me wonder. There was nothing to like.
Yeah.
He was open and shut.
Yep.
All right. Well, it's
fun though.
It was definitely fun. It's just I would be worried that it's going to be this exact same type of fun 118 more times or whatever.
Yeah.
And if that is, then that
I do know that there's so. Should we get into predictions?
Yeah.
Because this will come up a little bit. So I have number 1. I think we have a Moriarty.
Yep.
That's the Sherlock guy.
Yeah. The Sherlock's nemesis is Moriarty.
That's not the Mozart. Anyway,
maybe, but Sherlock's nemesis is something. What's his first name? Something Moriarty.
Okay, my brain is. You ever seen Amadeus? Anyway, I think the dad gets kidnapped. That's part of the equation. Ching. I think in this episode, I think there's a lot just revolving around the family now. And I think number 2, Don is getting married. And I was going to say is I think he's getting married to Slider's girl.
Oh, Terry?
Terry.
Yeah.
Because of what I think I remember from last summer watching this DVD.
Wait, who do you think's getting married to Terry?
So I think Don. My prediction is just Don is getting married, but in my brain, I think that he has a relationship with Terry if she's still around.
We're crawling into similar territory.
Okay.
So.
Number 3, I think someone's got to die of note in this episode.
Sure.
I put Dr. Fleinhardt because I think by now he's become a beloved.
Ally McBeal himself.
Mr. McBeal. And then number 4, I think whatever the like climax, like solve the big case is.
Yeah.
I think it doesn't involve math.
Physics?
Physics is
just
like
math.
mostly math. Like entirely math.
Chemistry.
I don't. Also, again,
Everything. Hey, like
good
Charlie.
old-fashioned police.
Like
What?
Charlie said, everything is math.
I know that, and that's exactly why I think this isn't math.
Okay.
Somehow
Like track and field.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, it's just they just race for it.
Yeah, it's just a foot race.
Hey, you go to jail if I beat you.
You're on, Charlie.
You're on. Yeah. Oh, I was thinking Don.
Oh,
I don't think Charlie's probably that fast.
that's why it'd be funnier if Charlie was going to do a foot race.
It's true. All right, what do you got?
Well, so to piggyback on one thing you said, I think Terry and Don are now an item.
All right. I think so too. I hope so.
I think take a sentence how you will, but I think Charlie maths a cannibal.
Ooh, I hope so.
I think he uses the math against a cannibal.
Maths as like the British mathematics, or maths as like apostrophe, like he's doing this towards, he's doing it at you.
I mean, I think he uses math to catch a cannibal.
Okay, got it.
or uses math against a cannibal somehow.
Yeah.
I think Don is now police chief. Wait, no.
Okay.
Well, it's not
whatever
like,
the FBI version of that is.
Whatever Skinner was in X-Files.
Yeah, what was he?
Something assistant Skinner.
Deputy assistant.
I don't know. He's definitely a couple pay grades up. Well, no,
Yeah.
he's got to be in charge of a lot of people for this to count.
Yeah, he's probably like the Merrick, whatever. Yeah, I think it's deputy, isn't it? Anyway.
So yeah, but he's high up. I said chief, but that was when I thought I wasn't paying quite enough attention. I thought it was just police and not FBI.
They were in the FBI building the whole time.
And then number 4, I think Alan, the dad, is dead or gone.
Ooh.
You think he got kidnapped? I think he got
Yeah.
buried.
I hate that, but I feel like you're probably right, because I do feel like of all of these actors,
They can't afford him for
he's
over
like
100 episodes.
He's like, yeah, I'm out.
So that's what I think.
All right.
Okay, well, the last episode of Numbers, spelled with a 3, was on March 12th, 2010, and it was called Cause and Effect. Which I read it and I was like, of course it was called that. But
I guess that's math. I do also think that, like you said at the beginning, that there's just a lot of logic in here.
Mm-hmm.
Which I think is kind of fun.
You know, math, logic, puzzles, whatever. Okay, we're gonna watch this last episode, and we'll be back after that. And we're back. We're done with the last episode of Numbers, spelled with a 3. It was called Cause and Effect.
'Twas.
Got to write up, Jimmy.
I do. So this was episode 16 of this season, and it seems like at some point during the season they realized that they found out that their season was getting cut short.
Yeah.
Because they were getting canceled. Or they were pretty sure they were getting canceled after that. So they left an open-ended-ish.
I want to point out if this season was anything like this episode, I think they earned cancellation.
Yeah. It's just whatever. It's definitely lackluster. But I mean, if you have to pivot and be like,
Yeah.
okay, how do we almost like mid-season compared to other seasons, like finish it up in a way that they could still get picked up for another one? That's got to be tough on like a series like this.
Yeah,
How do we make this?
It's got to be harder, and it's definitely above my pay grade because I don't know how to put this up. professional TV writer.
right. Exactly. Okay, anyway, here's what the internet says, and we'll fill in a lot. But Charlie and Amida, so his student from the pilot.
Yeah, from the pilot.
They get married with a small ceremony and begin preparations for their London adventure, but have to put a hold on their wedded bliss to assist the team. And that's all it says. But so they have a small ceremony with Fleinhart as the officiant and David, I think, who I cannot believe he's still in this show 6 seasons later. He gets a call and they're like, some guy, go arrest him. And Don's like, oh, shit, let's go arrest him. And then during that arrest, he loses his gun. And then that's really where the rest of the episode takes off. Which
is just like insane. Like the guy, like they were arresting some dude, and then some like big guy that was with like
very large man
that was with the guy that was getting arrested was like freaking out on the guy that was getting arrested. Like, you're a con man? Oh my God. And he was like charging him like he was going to beat him up or something like that. And there was like 2 feds.
What is your goal here?
What's happening? Like, you're going to beat up a guy that's about to get arrested or something. And then he like basically just falls on all 3 people.
He just tackles like 2 feds and another dude who's being arrested.
Yeah, and then
gun goes flying.
And then Don's gun falls down and someone picks it up.
Yeah, and he doesn't see who. He just sees the like feet of someone. So then they're trying to track the gun down because it's used in a murder, of course, immediately.
Right.
In a double homicide of some...
But in a vigilante murder.
Right, it's drug dealers, some corner drug dealers in some neighborhood where people are complaining. So then they're checking the web like you do.
Yep.
And they bring in Amida, who's apparently some sort of web math expert.
She's just a web page designer.
Yeah, she's got skills. She was a math student, at least at one point. We know that much.
Yeah, she at least went to school for a time.
So they're tracking her down. There's a whole thing between Charlie and Don, like, Charlie, you should not be dealing with this. It's not your problem. You just got married. And he's like, no, I'm going to help. I'm going to do math. And then eventually they track down.
But then he proceeds to do no math, right?
Very little math, if any math.
If any math. I feel like every time they went over to Charlie and Amida after that, it was just kind of like, then we're going to go to London.
Yeah.
And then we're going to go to France.
Really, like, Fleinhart was doing a lot of math. And actually, they were just making the new physicist guy, Otto, do the math on the chalkboard. And they're talking about how Otto's going to be the new Charlie.
And they really made him, like, nerd supreme.
Yeah.
Like, he should have started
Revenge
the
of the
Big
Nerds.
Bang Theory.
Yeah, for sure. So they were doing little things like that where they're like writing out people. They also had a quick thing, like a quick 30-second scene that David is telling the new like squad that he's getting a job and he's moving to DC. Remember that?
Sort of, yeah.
So there's this new crew of a few people, and it's this like jacked white guy who's pretty stiff, Colby, and then Nikki and Liz, I think are their names.
Yeah, without IMDb being it, I couldn't place what their names were.
You would not be able to pick them out of a lineup.
Yeah.
And then also roped into that is this gal Robin, who Don randomly at some point asks to marry him.
I mean, that was like right near the end of the episode after everything was like kind of wrapped up. It's kind of like, oh, Don's happy and he's married now. Yay.
Yeah. Definitely this seems like this was an episode that was written and then they're like, crap, we're getting canceled. Let's drop a bunch of potentially series ending things in there.
Dude, this episode, the premise of this episode, like the middle part, the meat and potatoes, if you will.
Yeah, I will.
would have been an amazing season-long arc of an episode.
Yeah.
Because Don lost his gun, and then someone was running around killing bad guys using the FBI guy's gun.
And it seemed like, so it was being posted on social media. We've got this vigilante gun. It's not going to be traced back to you. If you've got like a good guy problem, you're going to go solve versus a bad guy. It seemed like it was multiple people doing these things.
Yeah, it was really
not positive.
For one episode, it was very weird to be like, this gun got passed by. Like
several times.
Went to person. And it was it's like, this is like one episode, they're solving a murder, but then they find out that, oh my God, this guy got killed by my gun. And then the next episode, it's just a monster of the week, you know?
Yeah.
And then the next episode, they like hear about this gun, but it like this isn't the same person.
Maybe that was the thought.
Then like they use a math equation. I don't know if so Craigslist works better for them. And then they find out where the gun is.
Yeah.
It just was, I don't know. Like the premise of this episode was so cool to me. Like someone got a Fed's gun, but then they were like vigilante. They weren't even like murdering like good people. They were like, I was like, this is cool.
Yeah, they murdered an alcoholic, like drunk driver who had
oh God,
that was weird.
She like was like driving really terribly, and we're like, oh man, was this person in a parking lot driving terribly?
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden,
just like a teen.
It was like a lady in a cart waving out of her.
She's like happy as a clam.
She was happy waving out of her car,
Murdered.
and then she got like shot in the face.
Straight murdered. Yeah. And then it turns out a kid who, kids, they're hip to the web.
Yeah. Kids know how to surf.
Like they say.
If you know.
They surf the web. And the kid gets a hold of the gun, and the feds and like Amita and Charlie, they're all honing in on like the dad because, presumably the dad, like the kid's maybe using the dad's like screen name or whatever online, and he gets this gun and he's gonna kill the neighbor who's just terrorizing the neighborhood and everyone hates him. And he seems like he's a douche. But
the dad said enough things about this neighbor. I'm almost like, this neighbor could probably have been arrested.
He's not a good. That's a good point. He's not a good man.
And then, do you want to point out what happened became of this neighbor at the very end?
So then Lou Diamond Phillips freaking walks into the show. I have no idea. I should look at the IMDb, but I have no idea if he was a character. He must have been at some point. But Lou Diamond Phillips, the most recent thing I can think of him was in Longmire.
So you were explaining this, and the kitty cat that was in the room just made an insane jump.
Yeah, she's incredible.
We're on cat.
Is that a bed? What is she doing?
It's like a
tote.
Yeah, it's like a. Imagine listeners that are my new kitty cat, just jumped up onto a table, and now she's sitting in a teal tray, like a cubby tray.
I've never seen that tray in this room before in my life.
It's new to this room.
Okay.
It's
not just for her to sleep in.
It's not for her to play in. It's potentially thought of as this might be a nice like travel litter box if need be.
Oh, okay. So she can get cozy in there.
Yeah.
What were we
Lou
doing?
Diamond Phillips. Lou Diamond Phillips.
So, have you ever seen La Bamba?
I mean, probably not. I don't know.
That's what I think of Lou Diamond Phillips. Like late 80s. It's the story of Richie Valens. You know the song American Pie? Like if you are an American, you should know this story of Richie Valens and the Big Bopper and Buddy Holly like died in a plane crash.
Yep.
And
familiar.
The day the music died. That's basically like the movie's about Richie Valens, and Lou Diamond Phillips plays him, a very young Lou Diamond Phillips. But also, it's just amazing to see him now.
This is 2010 him, right?
And this is 2010. And it's just very weird. He walks into the scene for 1 second. Lou Diamond Phillips is also in Brooklyn Nine-Nine for a little while, and it is amazing. You should definitely be watching that show. It's about to start its last season.
I can't wait to watch the first and last.
So in like 6 months or whatever, I'll be making Joe and Josh watch this show.
Will you be watching the last with us for the first time, and making a Dr. Michelle mad, or will you be? I assume you guys are watching it together.
That's a good point. But we never watch it when it's on because we don't watch TV when it's on typically. But it's usually on Hulu like that night or like the next day, right?
It's at least the next day.
So.
But okay, but you never got to what became of the doctor. Not the doctor, the neighbor. Okay. Lou Diamond Phillips shows up.
Yeah, Agent something. Did I write this down?
Agent Phillips.
Ian Edgerton.
Agent D.L.D. Phillips.
He. It seems like he's going to, like frame this guy. Is that what he said? He was like he grabs the guy and says that he is an escaped Florida convict. But it sounded like that maybe there is an escaped Florida convict that he was just going to claim this guy was? Is that what you got?
No, I think this show was just trying to like not make a little kid pointing a gun be like a bad guy and somehow make this like shitty neighbor really be like an evil, shitty person. And they just were like, oh, this terrible neighbor, he's actually an escaped convict from a Florida jail who like is like on a life sentence and needs to go back to jail. And it's like, if you were an escaped convict from like a life sentence for doing horrible shit, you wouldn't post up in a suburban neighborhood and then terrorize your neighbors.
Shit. Yeah,
you
lay
wouldn't
low.
do it.
Right.
They'd just be like, "Oh, Herb, never even heard of him.
Love Herb.
Dude walks out, grabs his paper every day, and waves at us, and that's pretty much all
Watered
we know
my
of him.
plants when we were gone on vacation.
Yeah. She found her toy from earlier. This is gonna end up in a loud noise.
That's gonna pull a lot of stuff down any second.
But like, yeah, it's just like, oh god. I gotta get up for a second.
Okay, well, what do I have anything else to say about this show? I thought, we never talked about this, I don't think, from the pilot, but the theme music to the opening credits is Talking Heads.
Oh yeah, no, we did not mention that.
Which is just amazing, but they never actually get into the song, so maybe it's just cheaper to pay for the intro or something. I also thought the FX did not really get any better, which I don't know. Thinking like back to 2005 and watching the pilot, I was like, yeah, okay, it's not great. But then like 2010, that just seems like it should be such a big difference.
I mean, the intro screen, I mean, it's one thing to say, just saying like, hey, we stuck with it. This is our screen. And that's pretty much what they did.
Yeah.
But like, I feel like after 5 years, you go, I think we can make it. This is going to be better, right?
Right. What else? Flying Herd grew a beard. I thought that was fun.
I thought he looked great.
I was into it.
Yeah.
Right?
I thought that was prime him. Like, honestly, maybe in this actual man's entire life, I think that was prime him.
Great job, Peter McNichol.
I've seen him in,
Excellent
obviously,
beard.
like, he's never looked better. And no part in Ally McBeal did he look better than he did in that final episode of the show.
Numbers, Peter McNichol looked like every other role I've ever seen him in.
Exactly. And finale of Numbers, Peter McNichol.
Super job.
Fucking hunk.
Super job, Peter.
Looking great.
What else?
Keep it up, my man.
What else?
Was it just like full beard? Was that pretty much it?
Yeah.
Was it all it took?
Yeah.
Hey, listeners, don't wait till you're like 55 to grow a full beard. Try it out once in your life in your 30s. See if you like it.
Get on it.
You might look like shit, and if you do, only use them. Go with the mustache for a week. And if you look bad there, shave it all off again. It's fine.
Yeah.
You owe
You
it
do
to
you.
yourself.
Yeah.
Everybody.
Let it grow.
Ladies, got long hair? Shave it off. See what it looks like. It worked for Sinead. It could work for you.
Oh, man. Demi.
Yeah. G.I. Jane. Let's go.
Yikes. You have any other thoughts on numbers? David Krumholtz.
You know, this show is, once again, I said it earlier. I'm going to say it again. This show is fine. It doesn't make me want to watch any more of it. I feel like potentially it potentially does have these things that I'm asking for, like maybe a season-long bad guy or a season-long arc or something like that.
Yeah, it could be there.
Bummer that maybe it got canceled when it did, when it apparently had this amazing idea of stealing an FBI person's gun. And NCIS, if you're listening, steal that for season 20 or whatever you're on. It's a good idea.
Yeah.
But like, you know, I don't, nothing in this episode or in the first episode did anything like special, in my opinion.
Apparently, David Krumholtz was on Raw.
WWE Raw?
Yeah.
Oh. Well.
Fake Drew McIntyre.
Oh.
Is what it is. So I looked at the unaired pilot. He's like, him and David are like the only two people who were in the unaired pilot. So they built this show around David Krumholtz's ability to like speak with authority on math in a semi-interesting way, like he knows what he's saying.
Sure.
Which is a feat, you know. I did not think they had Amita, you know, kind of doing this, and I did not think it played as well.
Yeah.
It just didn't really seem like she believed what she was saying, and he totally does.
It's just like there is some sort of Sherlock element where you need to like, you're figuring stuff out and whatever, and it's just like, have you ever seen the BBC Sherlock with the Cumberbatch?
Yeah, the Cumberbatch.
I mean, he says boring shit so fun and interesting.
Yes.
Like the delivery is so good, and I'm not saying these actors can't do it. I'm just saying like their direction of how it's presented is just it's not as interesting as it could be.
Yeah.
And you know, maybe it's because American audiences like us are easy pleasy.
That's true, because like our version, like the U.S. version of Sherlock, like Elementary, with like Lucy Liu and stuff.
Oh
it's
man,
it's not the same, but
that's a problem. Lucy Liu, what a golden goddess, and like and whatever the man's name is, Dane from Hackers,
Johnny Lee Miller.
What a golden god! Like those two are like some of my favorite people.
That's a good.
Hackers is amazing. One of my favorite movies of all time.
You quoted it during the series finale of Numbers.
There you go. See, that's what I'm saying. And Lucy Liu is fantastic, but it's just like, I don't know, man. Maybe I hate American television. 204 episodes.
I wonder if Elementary's done. We should do that. I've also been told to do Sherlock, but I think, and it's technically, I think, a mini series.
It's kind of weird how it works.
It's like 2 hours long.
It's just two. We would just be watching literally 2 movies.
Yeah.
If we ever did Sherlock,
it'd be a good time.
If we ever did Sherlock, I'm going to say it right now, we'd just have to do 2 episodes of this show. It would have to be Sherlock finale and Sherlock pilot non-finale.
Just watch half the show and pause and talk about it.
Just like, just watch one and do it. But
that could be interesting. I could be down.
I think we'd have to do that. All in all, I watched Numbers. I watched it too. I'm not intrigued enough to watch any more of it. I got it.
I think this is a silly show. I think this is something I could definitely throw on. Like as far as procedurals go, honestly, it's definitely less formulaic and predictable than some.
Yeah, I mean, but if we're gonna consider something like Fringe or something like that a procedural as well, then I'm just gonna turn on like the X-Files. You know, like
gotta go with the classic.
Yeah. So something like that. Should we do predictions?
Let's do it. I have that Alan, the dad, was kidnapped, and he was not. He was still around quite a bit, pretty involved. He's freaking out because he is living apparently with Charlie, not the other way around as we thought. So Dad is looking for condos this whole episode, and then they figure out they're gonna renovate the garage into an apartment for Dad. So he's fine. Dawn, I thought Dawn was getting married, and he did propose, and she said yes.
Wait, did you say Dawn was getting married?
I wrote prediction 2, Dawn getting married.
I mean, at the end of the episode, Dawn was now getting married. You know what I'm saying? So I'll accept that.
Nice. Then I thought Fleinhart dies, and he was a lot more involved in the actual like crime
old
stuff.
Boring nerd Fleinhart died, and super cool sexy beast Fleinhart arisen from
born.
the cocoon.
Excellent. So
No
I'll take a
point. No points.
Okay. And then I have that the climax, like the solving, didn't use math, and I think that's mostly true.
I'd give you half a point for that. You pointed out they use the new nerds to like do math stuff to kind of figure it out, but for the most part, this is a pretty math light episode.
Yeah,
which is kind of like also then like they didn't focus on like what the show is named after. I feel like for the most part, bummer.
Probably because they threw a bunch of stuff out the window to close up the series.
Yeah, 1.5 then.
1.5.
All right. Well, I did worse. I think Terry and Dawn are an item, and Terry doesn't exist.
I swear that happens, unless I'm thinking of something else.
Well, I mean, maybe they were an item.
I think they maybe were. Potentially.
I thought Charlie maths a cannibal. No cannibals.
I bet that happens at some point.
So I don't even have to debate what that means.
6 seasons? There's a cannibal.
There's got to be one, right?
At least one.
My third one is Dawn is now chief. It doesn't seem he really is in any other higher position per se. He's getting obviously that new position and moving on somewhere in DC or something like that. But
no, that was David. I don't
that was
know
David.
I don't know what the hell's going on with Dawn. He's getting married.
It
doesn't seem like he's doing much
of the bedroom.
Anything. Oh, you didn't know that?
Yeah, he's probably Tonto.
What? What?
I don't know.
He's Native American.
I went with like the Lone Ranger, but that doesn't make any sense.
I don't know. We haven't done it on this podcast yet.
0 points. And number 4, I said Alan, the dad, is dead or gone. I thought there was no way they could afford him for this long.
Yeah,
they could.
I thought they wrote him off with a kidnapping.
Yeah.
Apparently, Judd Hirsch wasn't doing anything else.
Yeah, did nothing good. So I got 0 points.
Damn.
Way to pick a great TV show, Jimmy.
Hey, you're welcome.
Thanks. All right. Well, I guess that's it. That's that show we watched. It is Numbers with a 3.
Yep.
So
on Hulu. Watch now.
Cool. Hey, listeners, if you want to give us show suggestions or just write us for, whatever reason you contact people online, you can at FNL Podcast on the Gmail or on the Twitter. Please, if you want us to watch something, throw a suggestion our way. We love those. And if you are a listener, you realize that we do them.
Yeah.
We do those suggestions. If you've been hearing a lot of pitter-pattering in the last couple minutes, it's because I'm playing with a toy to make a cat happy.
Just been playing with a kitten this whole time.
Because we have a kitty, and she is insane. Aren't you? Yes, she is. All right, that's going to do it for today. We'll see you next week on another First and Last. Thank you for listening. Goodbye. Say goodbye, Stevie. No, she just found her other toy.